Hello, I'm recording this very quickly at halftime during the Bears-Cleveland Browns game. Actually, it's not halftime yet. Go Bears go! Bear down! And such. Oh, hook and ladder to DJ Moore. DJ Moore, hook and ladder to Kyle Manungai maybe, who gets tackled. Way to go, Caleb Williams stats. Everyone has their favorite stand-up comedy special, but how can we compare stand-up comedy specials without the favoritism getting in the way? Hopefully like this. Welcome to the Laugh Track, where we track stats and chat facts. Bear down! This week, I'll be watching the Standups. This is a Netflix stand-up comedy TV show. I'll be watching the Nate Bargatze episode, which is Season 1, Episode 1. Out of all the stand-up seasons, there are 3 total, and I believe 6 episodes per season. And I don't think that they repeat any stand-up comedians, but I'll get back to you on that, because I'm pretty sure over the course of the Laugh Track, I'll be able to get to every single one of these little episodes. But we're starting out, like I said, with the Nate Bargatze episode. This was released in 2017 on Netflix, of course, duh. It is Nate Bargatze's third of 7 stand-up comedy specials. I believe 2 of those are 30 minutes, and the rest of those, that would be 5, maths, are full hour-long stand-up comedy specials. This was recorded at the Cicada Restaurant and Club in Los Angeles. Damn it! That's what I was gonna name my restaurant and club. This year in comedy. 2017 gave us movies like The Disaster Artist, The House, and Fist Fight. TV shows like The Real Bros of Simi Valley, The Marvelous Miss Maisel, and Detroiters. And the highest grossing comedians based on ticket sales? In third place, Chris Rock, 20 million, Amy Schumer, 21 million, and oh me, oh my, Kevin Hart, 50 million. This is a landmark year because this is the first time that a comedian had ever hit 50 million in gross ticket sales. Notable comedic controversy of the year 2017. I've already covered 2017 on a previous Laugh Track, and there's no need to beat a dead Louie, as the colloquialism says. So I'll move on to the next one on the list, which was Bill Maher used a racial slur on his TV show. What? That guy seemed like such a cool dude. That guy seemed like such a level-headed, cool, nice guy. And lastly, before we get to the laughs, was there an intro? Yes, there was. It was a little bit like the Goodfellas one take, where they go outside of the restaurant into the inside of the restaurant, because Nate, he starts outside of the restaurant and then he goes inside of the what to say about it? I mean, Nate's performance here, chef's kiss, you know, he looks totally natural, really in his element, like an actor who is excited to be doing what he's doing. It's maybe one of the most awkward 60 seconds of television I've ever seen in my life. I mean, he does not look like he wants to be doing it. He doesn't look comfortable. He looks very like fucking, he has to be pretending to say hi to people, almost like a cool guy, like, you know, like to the bartender, or like Dan Soder greets him as he gets out of his car, and Dan Soder talks and Nate Bargatze doesn't say anything. I mean, I'm pretty sure that they're like really good friends, but he kind of gives him like the cold shoulder just by being awkward. It's a funny intro because it seems like it was supposed to make Nate look really cool and he just wasn't able to rise to that occasion. Or maybe I just don't know anything, right? Minute 0 to 10. I've seen a lot of Nate's stand-up over the years, but never for the Laugh Track specifically up until now. The thing that I noticed right away was, Jesus Christ, that's a lot of laughs to track. And they weren't all like really big ones. Of course, he did have his moments of big tension build up and then release where he got kind of like a laughter break where he would have to stop talking for a while. But they weren't all like that, you know? But there were, quantity-wise, just constant laughs. It's almost like his monotone delivery, I think, was kind of training the audience to make it seem like any setup or tagline or punchline is the funniest thing that you've ever heard if you just so happen to key into it at the right moment, or you're paying attention, or maybe you were like really laughing at one of the things he said before and now you're like looking up at the chandelier and then you stare back at him and you hear him say a sentence funny and you're like, oh my god, that's hilarious, but no one else is laughing. I don't know, I'm trying to over-explain why he has light laughs constantly throughout, and that's just you know, he's good at comedy. Maybe that's why. 65 laughs during this 10-minute segment. I really like it. I really like the prison joke here. And I like how he talks about each topic for a very short amount of time. It's almost like he's like, I don't know, it's like his jokes are orange juice concentrate. Like he distills the topic down to its absolute funniest, like 4 or 5 sentences. And he's like, well, on to the next topic. I'm not gonna beat a dead Louie, as everyone has always said. Minutes 11 to 20. Gonna steal an old comedy bang bang joke here. Maybe it's just me, but for me, I think Nate Bargatze is a very strong professional comedian who relies heavily on his writing capabilities. However, that goes off to the side in favor of what gets most of the attention, which is his delivery. While his delivery being monotone is fun for a lot of people because they aren't used to it, I think it's his writing that really gives his monotone delivery the ability to stand out and shine. Got too deep on that bang bang bit. Look at like Stephen Wright, you know? He's a very monotone comedian, but he also has very strong, very rich writing. He's using the economy of words very well. I think Nate Bargatze kind of like takes the Stephen Wright thing and then combines it into a more like traditional comedian style, which is maybe why Stephen Wright is known as, you know, like one of the best comedians to comedians, and Nate Bargatze is known as one of the best comedians to a large population of America at the current moment. You know, it's between him and Sebastian Maniscalco right now as I'm recording this. Speaking of as I'm recording this, the Chicago Bears just scored a touchdown. Let's go DeAndre Swift. There are 79 laughs in this 10-minute segment. Cool. And closing out Nate Bargatze's set, we get the Cape Fear Serpentarium story. Up until now, he's been, like I said, kind of like distilling his jokes down to a fine point and making them as quick as he possibly could, going topic to topic to topic. But here he really hangs his hat on a story. He picks it apart, going as far as into the details of a story as to dissect the number of times that a man was bitten by a viper, which was 7 times. And he takes the time to let the audience know that 7 is 3 times, and then 4 more times on top of those 3 times. When that's kind of towards the beginning of the joke, and I don't think I'd seen this joke before, but when I saw that he was spending that much time on that detail in the story, and he hadn't even gotten to any meat of the quote-unquote serpentarium yet, you know, like we hadn't even met any aminos. We hadn't even met any aminos yet in that part of the story. Be nice to yourself, Robert. You're doing a good job. Thanks, Robert. Who's over there? It's a Christmas tree. Merry Christmas, everybody. Go Chicago Bears. Do you know that they're playing a game right now, and I'm recording this? How many times have I eaten Andy Griffith? So, I like that he's hanging his hat. The tangent. I was on a tangent. What I'm saying is when he said that about how many times he had gotten bitten by the viper, I was like, he's going to spend a lot of time on this story. And sure enough, he did. And when he does get to the meat and potatoes of the story, it feels a little bit like a Tim Robinson sketch. A little bit like I Think You Should Leave. 51 laughs in this 10-minute segment. This is a lot of laughs in a, I think, 28, 29 minute. Hey, save it for the stats. Let's get to the stats. Save it for the stats? Thank you so much. This guy must have watched last week's episode. Welcome to the stats. Starting out, as always, with the bad words. Oh my god, no bad words? This is the first time that's ever happened. Nate Bargatze, clean boy, 0 bad words. Leading the way from the big 4 is all of them, with 0. Leading the way from the eclectic bunch is none of them, because they don't exist. On to the laughs. There were 195 total laughs in this stand-up special, coming from a total time speaking of 26 minutes, 41 seconds. That leaves us with a laughs per minute of 7.31 and a laughs per second of that really big, really small looking number right there. Also, fun notable note of notes is that I'm recording this in both the future and the past because the Bears already won their game. They beat the Cleveland Browns, go Bears, and they're playing the Packers tomorrow. If I had anything to say to any of the Bears, it would be to Darnell Wright, who is one of the best blockers in the league, and I'd like him to know that he can block me on any social media he likes. It would be an honor. And now we can compare. I feel a little bit foolish because last week I was all like, wow, look at this. The fat rascal himself, Stavros Halkias, has taken the most laughs per second. That's going to be really hard to take away from him. Like, we might have to separate categories because it's going to be so hard to... But now, Nate Bargatze, most laughs per second with that really big, really small looking number right there. Jim Jeffries still in the lead for most laughs total in a comedy special, and Miss Pat still in the lead for most bad words total in a comedy special. Do you have something funny to say at the end of this video? Nope.